Welcome! This is Unfolding, the show where I talk to creative business minds. My name is Marco Pfann, and today we are talking to James Callahan from FutureDeluxe. Welcome back. Today we are talking to James Callahan, the co-founder of FutureDeluxe and Forever. And we're going to talk about what they've been up to. There were some big announcements earlier this year around the new venture of Forever. And I also would love to ask some question about his take on creative leadership. So welcome, James. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to have you on the show because it wasn't really easy to get you on the show. You're really busy at the moment, so you're traveling a lot. That's what I've understood. And I assume that's because of the new journey, right? So you created something new, right? You're in the transition.
Yes, I'm traveling a fair amount at the moment, and going to meet lots of different people and to tell them about Forever and what we're trying to build there and why we think it's a good idea.
What are you trying to build there? What's the idea behind that?
Yeah, well, so what we're trying to do with Forever is bring the best studios together in the world, and Forever is kind of officially, publicly, really been in existence since the beginning of the year. And as the more we talk about it, the more we get a little bit better at describing it. It's one of those things where in the beginning, we felt a lot of it and we would have long discussions about what it was, but we probably weren't the best at describing it to anyone else. Okay. So as we've practiced talking about it and as we have refined it over the previous months, we've got a little bit better. And for us, it's about three things. We've kind of simplified it down to three things. Forever is about R&D and experimentation. So Forever is a collective of studios. Currently just two, FutureDeluxe and Tendril, but we're looking to bring more of the kind of world's most creative studios into Forever. And the first element of Forever is R&D and experimentation. Every studio that joins Forever will make a commitment to dedicating resource, dedicating time and energy to a combined innovation lab, innovation think tank that sits in the middle of all the studios within Forever. And those studios will they'll commit time and resource to this think tank, and the think tank is looking at new ways of working, new ways that we can approach some of the advances in technology, new aesthetics we might look to go into, and to play and to push all the studios forward.
So why do you think as a creative, I love the idea of a think tank, right? So, and what I heard you saying is that it's more, so it's actually like you send people from all those companies to the think tank and you work on exciting, new, innovative stuff. Is that actually more also like you're solving problems there? Is that for specific client problems, or is it just creative going crazy?
Both, I think. Oh, nice. So what we're looking to do is it'll be exploring internal topics that we're keen to explore and discover and play with. That might be, as an example, something that the team were working on recently was a new piece of technology around markerless motion capture, and kind of playing with that technology, seeing how we can kind of push it to its limits and create something visually beautiful, but also testing that piece of technology. Another great thing about this research lab is that it's not only for the studio's benefits to have this the power of all these amazing minds kind of thinking about things we want to know about, but we're also inviting clients in to ask questions and set the think tank briefs about what the future of their brand might look like. Some of the kind of more ambiguous questions that they're thinking about that are less our typical asset-driven briefs that we get from clients.
So it's really like very innovative, right? It's like you try to create like maybe even a competitive advantage through technology, obviously creativity. Understood.
And there's a number of benefits to that. One is it's just fun. Our team love it. They love to be able to to try new and different things, to be able to, for all the studios, people from the different studios to be able to collaborate together on projects, and to be, it's the fuel that drives all of our studios. It's the it decides the direction that the business is going to go. And that's the kind of aim of it. And then for clients to be able to have access to that as well, we're really excited by, so that we can start helping them on some of their kind of meatier, bigger challenges, like I say, that are less campaign driven.
What if they're less campaign driven and less about marketing assets and stuff? Can you talk a little about what they are looking for to get out of it? What's the benefit the client gets out of this? For creatives, it's amazing. It's fun. It's like, I would love to be in that think tank, by the way. But what do clients get out of that?
So it probably helps if I give maybe a couple of examples. We can't talk too much about specifics on these projects, but some examples are, we worked with a client on what the future of TV might look like. So we all have these ugly black rectangles in all of our living rooms, all of our offices. When you look to design your house, like there's no getting away. You've got to build stuff to hide these big black rectangles. How can we turn them into something beautiful, something that we like having in our spaces, but also can be not just an artwork, but can be informative, can give us notifications, but in a way that doesn't feel like another phone pinging off all the time.
You're transitioning the television experience, the screen experience out to like the whole room, right? It's like more holistic experience.
I suppose it's how can we turn something that when it's not being watched, it's pretty useless, into something a bit more useful and a bit more beautiful. That's just one example. Another is looking at ways in which clients can capture product differently. Instead of always kind of doing photo shoot. Often we work with some of our clients will have they'll want to create a campaign around a product that doesn't really exist yet, or there's one model kind of flying around. How can we build a system, a toolkit for them that allows them to be able to create assets before this thing exists in a number of different ways. These are just kind of some loose examples, but you'll see that they're the kind of briefs that sit outside of we have this sneaker and we need to promote it in this kind of spring campaign or so.
It's more like we have an idea, what can we make out of it, right? So that's super. Yeah. That's amazing. So that's number one. That's R&D, right? What's the second thing?
So the second one is collaboration. What we've always enjoyed is when teams come together and collaborate. So there are some amazing people out there. And if we can partner with different studios and bring kind of these incredible minds together, to be able to simply just have conversations more, to pick each other's brains on technical issues, and to be able to inspire each other, we think that's going to have huge benefits to all the studios. But not only that, when it comes to collaboration and bringing studios together, we have the kind of creative department, and our industry is very good at seeing the benefit of creatives collaborating. But one of the other slightly more practical, more kind of back-end advantages is that as creative studios, as you grow, what most studios kind of tend to forget or maybe undernourish is the more back-end teams. So the finance teams, the HR teams, our kind of legal, all of those elements. And by bringing the studios together, we can have bigger and more advanced back-end teams than any one studio would ever be able to afford by themselves. So we can kind of professionalize these studios and allow the leaders to focus on the creativity and take away some of those kind of more operational aspects for them.
So that's really inspiring. So and actually very smart. Like you also reduce the overhead cost by that, but not only that, you can actually have like a kind of broader team at the same time, more experienced, more specialized. Even.
I think the experience is the key thing. It's building these kind of teams with really experienced, really talented people that can make a huge difference to the businesses.
So all of those teams and all of those companies that actually join would actually operate underneath one umbrella, one like, what is that? Like one, there will be one finance team, there will be one...
The exact details of it we're still working out, but in essence, there will likely be finance people all over because the studios are split between a number of different locations.
Right.
So different regions kind of have different finance needs, for example. But then there'll be the senior team will manage those local finance teams. To make sure everything's running smoothly, but also HR. That's one thing that we forget when or not forget about, but as founders of a creative business, you get to so many years on, and then you realize, we really need to support our team, and we really need to bring these kind of more grown-up policies and ways of working in place. And we're building some amazing people teams that can support us in doing that.
So I like that. So quick question. Are you also people get together is amazing, especially creatives, and you have this structure that holds them. Is there a way, are you thinking about training them as well, like kind of helping them to get into different fields, evolving with their own skills and career?
Yeah, training is one of the big things that we're trying to do. And one of the benefits of bringing the studios together is where there might be a course, or there might be one of our team members might be able to train the rest of the collective's team in a specific department on something. So we will share knowledge, and this is the key thing. It's not just about the back end; it's sharing that knowledge. Yeah. So we can supercharge the speed in which we're learning, and that's the same from the experimentation as to the collaboration. If somebody learns a new piece of software, they can share it quite quickly. We will jump on. We'll set up kind of big group video calls where that person will kind of talk everyone through this new piece of software, teach them how to use it, so we can really speed up that learning and development.
You really get rid of all those silos, and it's like, and what I love about it, you actually, like a lot of creatives and talents these days want to go to the big brands because there's kind of like how would I say that, a more dynamic, maybe not more dynamic, but they have special benefits, right? But what you now offering by bringing together a lot of smaller companies or smallish companies, you're not small, but you're not as big as Google or the other players. But now you're actually creating a very, very nice and creative environment. People can work together, collaborate together, learn, get better, be trained. You have different location, right? It's kind of it's very attractive. I think this is a very attractive model to actually create top talents.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is this kind of best of both worlds, where one thing we found is that where we have smaller studios, we can create these really close-knit teams of people that are familiar with everyone they're working with, have real strong bonds. It promotes this kind of collaboration on a daily basis. It doesn't feel like you're walking to an office and there's 500 people and you don't know anyone. So we have these small studios that work really, really nicely. However, we also have this kind of support and backing of an entire group. So the theory is you get the benefit of the big company, with also the benefit of the smaller studio vibe.
What's the I love it. As a creative, perfect. As a studio owner, I would say this is super smart. For the client, what are the benefits for the client to hire someone that runs that system?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a couple of benefits. One is as I said, the knowledge sharing. So if there is if there's something that one of the studios maybe is less skilled in, they can tap into people from the collective in order to upskill pretty quickly, or just bring them into support on that particular project. The other one is scale. As a smaller studio, clients, there can be a risk. If people are ill, or there's a smaller team there that you rely on to get a job done. Scale adds a kind of safety net, so that we know we can bring people in. We can never really get kind of too busy, I suppose. We can always bring people in from the other studios to support. The other thing is, if we have a really big project that maybe is bigger than one of the studios can handle, we can scale up pretty quickly, bring people in to be able to deliver on those kind of bigger projects as well.
Are you planning to bring in other expertise, like more maybe even graphic design, or more like different skill sets from different creative industries? Yeah, definitely. Over time, we look to bring in studios with experience in whether it's design, whether it's more live action, whether it's certain types of, maybe it's installations. The key thing, I think, that we've realized when we're going out and speaking to studio owners and teams is it's 95 to kind of 98% about the people, whether we connect with those people, and their way of thinking and their way of working, which neatly brings me on to the third point, which is values. Every studio should be values driven. We want to create a kind of new standard for the industry where we put people, creativity and exploration kind of first. So it's a real focus on, we want to build environments and studios that people love going to, and they're happy and they're treated well. And they're enjoying their everyday. That's super important to us. With spaces, are you talking about physical spaces, like studios people come into, or is it more like the state of mind thing, like the environment, the culture?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a state of mind and a culture. The culture of FutureDeluxe has always, from kind of day one, always been super important to us. That we put people first. We'd all worked, myself and Andrew had kind of worked in a number of different places throughout our careers where it didn't feel like people were first.
What?
We have something unique, I think, in both FutureDeluxe and Tendril, where everyone is genuinely a nice person. And they genuinely enjoy being around each other. Yeah. We have this rather crass kind of no dick head rule, and I get told off sometimes for using that phrase, but it's this rule of just we one kind of bad egg can have a real big impact. Bad people can make good people leave. So we try and make sure everyone is have a kind of a similar mindset.
Right.
and they're kind of willing to collaborate. They're friendly. They're kind of they're allowing everyone else to enjoy their day to day.
So I really like this model. The idea behind is like it's pointing to a better future for creatives. So we have R&D, we have collaboration, and we have values. Mm-hmm. And how do clients respond to that idea of forever? Did you already have? Did you pitch it already? Do you maybe even have some clients already?
Yeah, we're speaking to most of our clients about what forever can mean to them. I think it doesn't really change the way clients react with us too much. So the only real change is if they want to work with the think tank. But otherwise, they go direct to FutureDeluxe, they go direct to Tendril, just as they did do before. But there's this kind of added benefit.
So it's really like when they want to have something like what. It's more the innovative stuff when they kind of have, as we said in the beginning, they have an idea, they don't know how to do it, they don't even know how to frame the problem yet, no less the answer. So that's when they come to, right, we need to do something, and this is the challenges of the future, and how can you help us, kind of those.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and that's just a portion of the work we're doing with clients. Like all of our every product release film, every campaign, every motion branding project, we're still working with our clients on those, and we're still kind of there's no real changes there. It's just now we have this think tank as well that is working, and it's a collaboration between the studios that is another kind of vertical for clients to kind of tap into us.
Can you already talk about who's next? Who will join next? Do you have anything you can share already?
No, nothing I can share. We're speaking to we're speaking to a few different people, and we're in the process. So hopefully we'll have some news to share soonish. But as I say, it's the key thing for us is about the people. It's about those people running the businesses, and there's a really nice cultural fit. The beauty of Tendril was when we first had that conversation with them. We hadn't really, our teams had met each other, and kind of people had worked between the studios, and freelancers had worked between both studios, so we knew some of the teams. But myself and Andrew hadn't met the Tendril founders. And so it was quite nerve-wracking going in, kind of saying, look, we've got this idea. Do you fancy kind of joining us on this? But as soon as we did it, as soon as we went in, we realized that we were so like-minded, and there was such a real connection as kind of human beings and people, that we knew we would be able to work together. And we knew as problems come up, as they always will do, that we'd be able to resolve them as a team, because as people, we kind of connected.
So did I hear that right? You didn't speak to Tendril before, you didn't even know them?
Yeah, we knew obviously we knew their business, and we knew their work, and we knew the reputation that Tendril had, and the reputation they had for having this incredible culture, but we hadn't personally met the founders. We flew over and went for dinner and drinks with them, and
so you literally asked out strangers for a date.
Basically, yeah.
That's good. That's bold. That's brave. I love that. Why Tendril?
Because the more we got to know them as a studio, the more we realized that there were so many parallels with our journeys. So it was, the studios were a very similar age. They'd gone through kind of similar challenges and discoveries at a certain time, and their work is incredible. The kind of quality of their work is amazing. The way they work is great as well. We share our values, and location-wise, it's great as well because they're close to kind of North America. They have great relationships with brands over in the US and in Europe as well. So it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think like it fits together when you see the work and stuff. It's kind of there's you can really feel like there is something you have in common there. Actually, I have one or two more questions. So one question would be, what happened that a business model like this actually needs to be created? So what changed in the industry? What changed in like maybe in like the bigger sense of like the whole world? What changed that it made necessary to create Forever?
I think businesses like FutureDeluxe and Tendril didn't really exist over kind of 13, 14, 15 years ago.
True.
These types of studios just didn't exist before. So what you have is you have studios that are around kind of 10 years old, where they have been on a journey and their founders are kind of getting older, wanting to try new different things. And what tended to happen was studios would either kind of not change and maybe stay as they were, and the quality of the work would maybe suffer, or they would look for new challenges and maybe they would partner with one of the bigger groups, and we just wanted something that was slightly different. I think one of the other things that was important for us personally as well is me and Andrew, we are creatives at heart. We're always wanting to learn and challenge ourselves. And selfishly, we wanted to learn to be better at what we do. We wanted to learn from some incredible mentors and advisors out there on how we could evolve the business and how we could take it to a new and exciting place, but still maintain kind of what made it special. So now, as we've built this network, as we've built this collective, I have a network of advisors, mentors, collaborators that I can just chew things over with. And I never had that before. It was just me and Andrew. We just had each other to talk to about the things we were going through and the stresses of of running a studio. And now I feel blessed to have all these different people to be able to pick up the phone to and just chat about things we're going through.
So obviously, I love that you said that because that kind of speaks to my profession and what I'm doing. And can you explore a little more what's the benefit of actually having people to talk to, asking for advice, maybe just get some coaching or consulting, and just what is it? What made the big difference?
I think it's talking to people that have been there and done it, that have slightly different experiences. So as an example, our chairman, Ian Ferguson, he has a lot of experience running kind of bigger agencies and studios and bringing them together as well in this way. 99% of the problems that we have as any business is based around people and people and relationships. And it's great to just be able to kind of pick their brains on what they've been through in the past, how they've dealt with things previously, and just to bounce ideas back and forth. We have on our board, Robin Shenfield, who founded the Mill. And his experience has been amazing just on learning how they grew in the US, how they tackled sales, how they built their teams. Like, we don't want to be the mill, but they have done some incredible things, and Robin took them on this amazing journey. So just being able to have someone like him at the end of the phone whenever you want is such a blessing. Also, then I work very closely with Kate, who is one of the founders at Tendril. Kate went on a very similar journey as me. I looked after the business of Tendril while Chris, Patrick, and Alex kind of ran the creative. That's what I did at FutureDeluxe, was look after the business, and now have Kate to be able to kind of chew things over with, and how did you do this, or what do you think, and that's so valuable.
So you now actually have to talk to someone. You can't talk to someone. You have some sounding board. It's like actually you don't have to make up everything in your own mind, because I assume, which is the case in many of my clients, like there are oftentimes two people at the leaderboard. One creative, one's taking over the business part, but more because he felt he's doing it better, not because he wanted to do it. I assume that's kind of similar how you got into this, right?
Yeah. Well, so I started off as a creative. I studied fine art and then design and went into advertising. And when I met Andrew and we started working together under FutureDeluxe, we were both directing projects. We were both the creatives, and it got to a stage where there's certain shit that needed to be done, and I would pick up and do it, and I wanted to make sure things ran smoothly. I wanted to make sure that projects were produced right. So I was kind of our first producer before we had producers in. I just wanted to kind of make sure everything was running smoothly. So I naturally fell into that role. And Andrew is obsessed and crazy about the creative and the kind of FutureDeluxe as a brand and the vision. So it worked quite nicely how our roles kind of fanned out.
So how do you maintain the motivation when you work as a creative, like you're a hardcore creative, right? How do you maintain the motivation to work on the business? What inspires you to do all of that? Like, what inspires you to work on the business and not in the business, as they say?
I see the business as my project now. And so where before I would work on projects, client projects, or internal projects, and I'd be running those and I'd be directing those. Now the business is my project. It just doesn't have a delivery date. It just doesn't have an end.
No deadline.
There's no deadline. So, and we all know what happens when you have a project with no deadline.
Yeah, it gets out of hand.
The business is my project now, so I try and treat it like that. And I when I was at art school, when I was studying design, I never thought that I would be so involved in the business side of something. But I genuinely enjoy it. There's challenges there. I'm learning so much every day. Like at the moment, it just seems every day there's a new learning that's coming in.
Like, tell me one, like maybe recent or one, maybe even the biggest learning you had as a creative business owner. What's something that really stuck with you? Like maybe something that is different to the way creative think.
As I said, so our businesses are people businesses. Communication. Over communicate. You cannot over communicate. When you think you have told someone something, tell them it another 10 times. And this is something I've kind of stolen from Ian, our chairman, and he described it like this beating drum. You have to like repeat the same thing time and time and time again, and you're beating this drum, and to you it feels like this drum is so loud, and how can anyone ignore it? But to everyone else, it's just this kind of faint beat in the background, and then suddenly everyone's like, oh, what do I hear? What's this do I hear in the background?
Oh.
Is there a drum beat or something? And then suddenly people hear it. So it's just, you cannot over communicate as much as possible.
But that speaks to marketing, right? This is like where you have to go out, generate lead. You have to be there on top of mind all the time. You have to beat the drum. Love it. That's a great picture. I'm actually going to steal this as well. Thanks.
The other one that I stole off him as well is a focus. To really be focused. As creative people, we love like these shiny little things that pop up every now and again and distract us and take us off in this direction and that direction. I think it's key to focus and set a plan and aim for a goal and just kind of focus on that. Don't get too distracted by all the shiny things that are trying to pull you away from that.
Can you make this more like practical? What kind of goal or what kind of plan? Is it like a business plan? Is it like a big vision you want to have, or?
Yeah, like for example, when we're talking about the studios we want to bring in.
Yeah.
If we have an idea and a studio or a couple of studios we might be talking to, try not to be distracted by something that pops up over here or in a region maybe that we decided that we weren't going to focus on, or a type of sector that we thought, okay, maybe we're not going to focus on that this year. Not to be distracted by that. It's also all the little things that come up on the day to day, all the tiny little things that come up, whether it's client projects or internal issues or whatever it is. It's like trying to kind of remain focused on a few key things, and making sure you're heading towards them. We're bombarded by notifications, by to-do lists, by so many things that we have to do. We have to cherry pick what are the most important things and kind of really aim to complete those tasks.
What are your daily practices to future-proof a company, or to actually get leads? And is that something that you do in a daily practice that helps you bring the company to the future? Like something really practical, not like making a plan or something like that, but maybe, for example, do you reach out to people? Do you reach out to clients? Do you do things like that? Do you do marketing?
Yeah, I am. I'm still involved in a lot of our business development and new business. So I'm still reaching out to clients. I'm still going to presentation meetings. I'm still connecting with kind of past clients and seeing how they are. I'm still pretty heavily involved in that. That's something I always did in the business before,
yes.
And something I'm still a big part of.
So it's kind of this people business, right? It's over communicating, also not only with a team and with new clients, but also with past clients and potential clients in the future. You want to be there, they want to be seen, and you want to tell them, for example, what forever is, things like that. Right? Cool.
For me, it's remembering that as a business, like I'm in this business every single day, so I know everything about it, but most of the world have never heard of us and know nothing about us. So there's still a big job to do about getting the word out there and talking to people and sharing kind of who we are and what we do.
I think within the creative industry, you're very well known. I assume you're right when we talk about the client side and the companies out there. Yes, there's some room. Beautiful. I thank you so much for your time. But I have one last question to ask, and so you had a very exciting journey, and now you're actually making a huge leap. What's one lesson, or what's one advice you want to give to the whole community?
I think Let me think. Not being afraid of change. Not being afraid of tweaking what you're doing to making it better. Change is scary. Change is something that can be disruptive, but it's a good thing at the end of the day. It's evolving. We had this when me and Andrew used to do our conference talks. We'd have this adapt or die. And it's like we have to be, if we stay the same, if we had stayed the same from day one and just gone, right, this is the team, this is the type of work we're doing, we're happy, we're never going to change it, and we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are now. So it's been willing to take risks, to adapt, to explore and experiment with new things in order to grow and evolve.
And even changing business models, right? You're actually changing the business model now, and I like that. So it's like actually try new things. Like we are in a recession now. Our clients have different demands. The market has different demands, and you kind of adapt not only like your thinking, but the whole business to those new, new times, basically.
Yeah, experimentation from day one has always been something that we have pushed and dedicated time to. And this and how we're working now is just another experiment. It's just a bigger version of the kind of the experiments and the tests we're doing in the studio. It's just it's not being afraid to try something different.
That's a nice message, a really good message, and I think people could live by that and think about what they could do differently to actually maybe get their studio to the next level, as you did. James, I thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to finally meet you, and I hope we can do this again someday.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me as well.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Marco Pfann, and I hope to see you all again on our next show where we unfold creative business minds.